The National Construction Code specifies the particular requirements for fire resistance levels, or FRLs as they are commonly known, and resistance to incipient spread of fire. In this module, we'll examine these requirements for mid-rise timber buildings. Let's first look at Class 2 and 3 buildings. Having determined the type of construction for the building, it is now possible to determine the fire-protected timber requirements for various wall, floor, ceiling, and other building elements. This table here, from the Wood Solutions Technical Design Guide for Mid-Rise Timber Buildings, summarises the fire resistance level requirements specified in the NCC for most of the typical elements in a mid-rise timber Class 2 or 3 building of Type A construction. The NCC general requirements for lightweight construction in residential buildings Class 2 and 3 for load-bearing wall and floor elements stipulates an FRL of 90-90-90, as you can see here highlighted, and also a resistance to incipient spread of fire of 45 minutes. For massive timber systems in Class 2 and 3 buildings, the FRL doesn't change. The requirement is still 90-90-90. For massive timber systems, however, a modified resistance to incipient spread of fire, RISF, is used, and here you can see this is reduced typically down to 30 minutes. For Class 5 office buildings, the NCC requirements are slightly different. Mid-rise Class 5 office buildings are defined as 3 stories or more high. 3-storey office buildings are generally of Type B construction, and those 4 stories or more are required to be of Type A construction, as designated by NCC Volume 1, Section C, Part C1, Table C1.1 shown here. For Type A construction, the general requirements for lightweight construction in Class 5 buildings for load-bearing wall and floor elements require an FRL of 120, 120, 120, as you can see here highlighted, and also a resistance to incipient spread of fire, again of 45 minutes. For massive timber systems in Class 5 buildings, the FRL for load-bearing doesn't change. The requirement is still generally 120, 120, 120, and the modified resistance to incipient spread of fire of 30 minutes is again used. For Class 5 office buildings, the NCC also provides a concession where the design live load of a floor does not exceed 3 kPa, allowing the next floor above to reduce to an FRL of 90-90-90 for beams and floors, but not columns, or the roof, if that is the next level above, to reduce to 90-60-30. The NCC also allows other concessions for the topmost story of a building and the roof. So in summary, the NCC defines the required fire resistance levels and resistance to incipient spread of fire values for different types of construction. For Class 2 and 3 residential buildings, this is typically an FRL of 90-90-90 and an RISF of 45 minutes for the general requirements, and an MRISF of 30 minutes for massive timber. Whilst for Class 5 office buildings, the requirements are an FRL of 120, 120, 120, and an RISF of 45 minutes for the general requirements, or an MRISF of 30 minutes for massive timber. For further information on wood and wood products, visit woodsolutions.com.au, the website for wood.